Alright, what's up, y'all, man? This is going to be my last chapter before I go to bed tonight. We're in Genesis chapter 41. Looks like a pretty long chapter. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with it. And let's just see how it goes, alright? Alright. And it came to pass at the end of the 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. And behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine, and fat flesh, and they fed in a meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored and lean-fleshed kine did eat up the 7 well-favored and fat kine. So Pharaoh woke. What a weird dream. Got these little skinny animals. These little skinny animals, and they eating up the fat animals. So what could be happening? I'm sure if you read your Bible, you know it's about to happen, but kind of a weird dream. And he slept and dreamed the second time, and behold, 7 ears of corn came up upon one stalk, rank and good. And behold, 7 thin ears are blasted with the. Hopefully, my battery will make it. Thin ears, okay, and blasted with the east wind sprang up after them, and the 7 thin ears devoured the 7 rank and full ears. And Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all the wise men thereof. And Pharaoh told them his dream, but there was none that could interpret them unto Pharaoh. Then spake the chief butler unto Pharaoh, saying, I do remember my faults this day. Pharaoh was wroth with his servants, and put me in ward in the captain of the guard's house, both me and the chief baker. And we dreamed a dream in one night, and we dreamed each man according to the interpretation of his dream. And there was with us a young man, a Hebrew, servant to the captain of the guard. And we told him, and he interpreted to us our dream. Oh, now you remember. Cheapskate, swindler. To each man according to his dream, he did interpret. And it came to pass as he interpreted to us, so it was. Me he restored to mine office, and him he hanged. Then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him hastily out of the dungeon. Come here, Joseph, get out of here. Joseph the Hebrew. And he shaved himself and changed his raiment and came in unto Pharaoh. So we see that the Egyptians shaved their heads and stuff like that. And we see that Joseph, being a Hebrew, was probably growing his beard and everything, because that's his heritage. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I have dreamed a dream, and there is none that can interpret it. And I have heard say of thee that thou canst understand a dream to interpret it. And Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. The Almighty shall give Pharaoh an answer of peace. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, In my dream, behold, I stood upon the bank of the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 kine, fat-fleshed and well-favored, and they fed in the meadow. And behold, 7 other kine came up after them, poor and very ill-favored, and lean-fleshed, such as I never saw in all the land of Egypt for badness. And the lean and ill-favored kine did eat up the first 7 fat kine, and when they had eaten them up, it could not be known that they had eaten them, but they were still ill-favored as the beginning. So I awoke. What is this? Blasphemy in the land of Egypt. And I behold, 7 ears came up in one stalk, full and good. And behold, 7 ears withered, thin, and blasted with the east wind, sprung up after them. And the thin ears devoured the 7 good ears. And I told this to the magicians, but there was none that could declare it to me, because you're using that pagan, sadistic, satanic, Egyptology, magician, magic stuff, man. This stuff don't work. That crap out of here. And Joseph said unto Pharaoh, The dream of Pharaoh is one. The Almighty hath showed Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good kine are 7 years, and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dream is one, and the 7th thin ear and the 7 ill-favored kine that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty years blessed with the east wind shall be 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken unto Pharaoh, which what the Almighty was about to do, he showeth into Pharaoh. See, Anubis and Osiris and Isis couldn't show him this. Oh, the Almighty had to show him. You know what I'm saying? The Almighty had to show him. And there shall arise after them 7 years of famine, and all the plenty shall be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine shall consume the land. And the plenty shall not be known in the land by reason of the famine following, for it shall be very grievous. And for the dream was doubled unto Pharaoh twice, it is because the thing is established by the Almighty, and the Almighty will shortly bring it to pass. It is imminent. It will happen. Now therefore let Pharaoh look out at a man discreet and wise, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land, and take up the 5th part of the land of Egypt in 7 plenteous years, and let them gather all food of those good years that come, and lay up corn under the hand of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities, and the food shall be stored to the land against the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, and the land perish not through the famine. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this man, a man in whom the spirit of the Almighty is? And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as the Almighty has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Ah, look at that. Joseph's knowledge and wisdom far exceeded any of Pharaoh's wise men, these Egyptologists. They wasn't so smart after all. Yes, and Pharaoh said, and the thing was good in, wait a minute. Yeah. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such one as good as man in the spirit of the Most High is? And Pharaoh said to Joseph, for as much as the Most High has showed thee all this, there is none so discreet wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house according to the words. Shall all my people be ruled? Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So you are second only to Pharaoh, Joseph. You are second only to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it over upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried before him, bow the knee. And he made him ruler over the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, and I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, a priest of On. And Joseph went out over the lands of Egypt. So we see that Joseph here has a Egyptian wife. Now, see, I know a lot of Israelites like thinking, man, like, you know, there's a lot of interbreeding. You know, we see that you see some of these cats in some of these camps always talking about, you know, not mess with Hamites and stuff like that. But, you know, as I'm reading the Bible, man, I see a lot of our patriarchs, you know, interbreeding. You know, even, you know, we haven't even got to Moses yet, but, you know, Judah messed with prostitutes, and, you know, you see in Jasher, you see Reuben slept with his own mother, man. You know, he's like, what is that? All right, well, hold on 1 minute. Bila, I think, I forget, he slept with one of them. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, and Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. And in the 7 plenteous years, the earth brought forth handfuls, and he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities, the food of the field, which was round about every city, laid he upon the same. And Joseph gathered corn as the sand of the sea, very much until he left numbering, for it was without number. And unto Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, which Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, the priest of On, bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, saying, this is this son is a crossbreed between he's Shemitic and he's a Hamite. So it's a lot of stuff going on, man. Let's just keep reading here. All right. For the Almighty said, He had made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called Ephraim, for the Almighty have caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Then the 7 years of plenteous that was in the land of Egypt were ended, and the 7 years of dearth began to come according to Joseph had said, and he dearth was in all the land, but in the land of Egypt there was bread. And when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread, and Pharaoh said unto all the Egyptians, Go unto Joseph, what he said to you, you do it. And the famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto Egyptians. And the famine waxed sore in the land of Egypt, and all the countries came into Egypt to Joseph for to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all the land. So we see here, that it's a couple of things here, man. We have Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim, these Israelites saying, oh, these are the Puerto Ricans. I mean, we haven't got to that chapter yet, like naming the tribes. But we do know that this tribe of Ephraim is a mixture of a Hamite, because Joseph is Hebrew. And, he's a Shemitic, so Joseph a Hebrew. And it's Hamite, because his wife was an Egyptian. So, so even his sons isn't even all Shemitic, it's a mixture. All right, so that's the end of chapter 41. We see in chapter 41 Joseph is taken back out of the dungeon, and he interprets Pharaoh's dream, and he is second to only Pharaoh in the kingdom of Egypt, a Hebrew. All right, that's your boy, Yah's chosen one. I'm going to sign off and head to bed. Just had to get the word in. Shalom.